Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. Here we are in our Not Minecraft, and we're going to go ahead and start hooking up the animations. Remember that we're on the beginner side of this tutorial, so if you folks are already familiar with how to set up animations and all that stuff, you are welcome to jump ahead to the next videos if they are out. Because I know everybody wants to get to the how do you place blocks and set up an environment. So you're welcome to skip ahead to that if those are out at this time. And or at the time that you are watching this, I should say. That being said, I'm going to go to my animations folder, and I'm going to go ahead and find out where my animations are. Okay, so I have my Not Minecraft folder, and let's drag in our animations. So I got my walk and the idle, drag those in. I'll minimize this. Now, since we're importing just the animations, we need to specify who we're going to attach the animations to. We already have our bind post, so if I go ahead and open this up, you'll see our Not Steve bind post skeleton. We need to choose this. And since we have more than one object to import or one animation to import, I'm going to go ahead and hit import all, so this will update both of them. And there they are. Hey, look at that. And if I go into these, it is doing stuff. Cool. Next we need an animation blueprint and a way of moving our character around. So let's go ahead and right click in here. Let's go to animation and animation blueprint. We want to choose the animation instance. You can see you can make a few different types. Come down to the bind pose skeleton here, and then go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to call this one Not Steve Anim BP. And the next thing will be our blend space. So we only have to worry about our forward and idle animations for the moment. So I'm just going to choose a blend space 1D. Choose our skeleton. And there we go. Now you don't have to actually use this. You can do it by hand, but this is a lot faster. So I'm just going to call this one Not Steve underscore. This is going to be idle to walk. So this one's going to handle the motion from standing idle to whenever we have any kind of speed attributed to our character to start moving his little legs. So we have our graph right here. I'm going to drag in the idle animation. That's this little green one here. Put that at 0. So when we are not moving, we're at idle. And then when we are moving at some value, we will be walking. And if you hold down the shift key, you'll have this little cursor, it'll follow. So here we are doing nothing. And then if we start moving, we are walking. Okay. Now the maximum walk speed is about 600, which is kind of fast. You can see down here, we're at 100, which is quite slow. So we need to adjust this. I'm going to come over to our horizontal axis right here, and then open that up. We will change the title of our graph to speed. And then our min value will be 0. But then our maximum value will be the default walk speed, which is 600. And if you want to know where I'm getting this number from, if you open up your character blueprint, if it ever opens like this, just hit Open Full Blueprint. Inside your character blueprint, select your character movement component, this guy down at the bottom, and under character movement, down here, we have a maximum walk speed, and the default is set to 600. Of course, you can change this. If you wanted to move slower or faster, you can definitely modify that. Just make sure whatever change you do here, that you update it over here. Okay. I'll go ahead and save that. And then I'll go to the animation blueprint. Luckily, all the animations are kind of connected together. So I'm going to go up to the animation blueprint here. Just open it. And we should be on the animation graph. If you're not sure, we have two graphs here. This is the event graph, and then down here is the animation graph, which is the one that we're on. You can see the tag right there. If I'm on the event graph, it looks like this, and you can see the event graph here. And now I want to take this and create a state machine. Now, just to show you, you can just take this idle to walk animation and plug it in. And this will run right here. But we would have no way of transitioning out of this animation, and we'd be kind of stuck. So what a state machine does is it allows us to switch between animations given a condition or a state that our character can be in, whether it's walking, standing, jumping, running, etc. So off of our result, I'm going to pull that out and do state machine. I'm going to add new state machine. And I'll just call this over here, we'll call this state machine. Double click on it. And we have our first entry point. So the entry point is going to be our default state. And that is going to be idle. So go ahead and drag the arrow out of there. Add state. This is going to be our idle to walk. Go ahead and open that up. And now we can drag in our idle to walk into our state. Plug it in. And now we need to tell it how fast we're going to move. Right now it says 0, which isn't very fast at all. So I'm going to drag off of this. Promote to variable. I'm going to call this speed. And we can compile it. Hey, awesome possum. So now we're good in here. Let's go over to our event graph. So we have our speed variable, and what our event graph is going to do is it's going to get the variables that are from our character and apply them to any of the variables that we're going to use for our animation graph. So I'm going to drag off from our update. I'm going to cast to our character, so cast to player. If you named them something other than player, you have to cast to its name. For the object type, we're going to use our try get pawn owner. And then before we run any variables off of this, we want to make sure this hasn't died. So we're going to go ahead and just drag off the blue and do is valid. Grab the question mark. Just plug that in. So in the event we have a failed cast, this doesn't throw an error. It just says nothing. Okay. And then from our player, I'm going to drag out from him. And we're going to look for the velocity. So velocity. Let's do get velocity. And down here at the bottom, there it is, get velocity. And we want to get the length of our velocity, so go ahead and pull that off. We'll do length. And we're looking for vector length. This guy. So what this does is it converts our 3 values from our vector, so x, y, and z, and it figures out the magnitude of that, or the total value of all those together, to give us a total speed value. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this off. Set it to the valid. Okay, and I'm going to take the value from here, plug it in. So as we're updating, we're going to check for our player. If our player exists, then we are going to get its speed and set it. Okay, we can compile that now, hit save. Jump into our player, go to the viewport, that way we can see stuff happening. And then let's go ahead and select the character mesh. Under the animation tab right here, we have animation class, and we can add in our animation blueprint. So here's our Not Steve animation blueprint. Compile it, save it, and now if we were to run this, and I go to move, there he is. He is walking. Okay, let's go ahead and fix our camera, because right now I can kind of see Steve's face through his face, which I don't want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and add a component. Do camera. The top camera. The scene camera is a cinematic camera. It has a little bit different of a viewport, so I'm going to use the regular one. I'm going to call this one FP camera. FP for first person. And I will position this so that the focal point is just a bit ahead of his face, like so. Okay. Compile it, save it, let's take a look. That is a lot better. Now you'll notice that we can't look down now. So what we have to do is tell this camera that it's okay for us to look up and down. So what we want to do is come over to our camera settings, and then under camera options we have use pawn control rotations. Go ahead and hit the checkbox. Compile that, save it, and now looking up and down works. Hey! Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call the video here. In the next one, we will start adding blocks to our scene. Alright, stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you've enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have official merch and a Patreon somewhere in the link down below. Also, keep your eye out for the devlogs for Blockout and Rocket Flip. Those are 2 games that are coming out for Lame Duck Studios, officially released and all that good stuff. And if you guys want to see how those are being put together and the process that I'll be going through, stay tuned for that. You'll be seeing those coming up here soon. And don't forget that I create new content on Sundays and I release content on Wednesdays. So stay tuned, and I shall see you next time.